All right, let's dive in. Today we are talking all about end suction centrifugal pumps.
Yeah, they're the workhorses behind the scenes, keeping fluids moving in your house, big industrial plants, you name it.
That's right. So if you've got a water treatment project on the go, or maybe you're just curious about how stuff works, stick around.
Exactly. And what we're going to do is figure out why these pumps are so popular, why their simplicity is well, it's their superpower.
I like that. I like that. Simplicity, their superpower. I am intrigued. I am. So end suction, what's the deal with that?
It's actually pretty straightforward. Picture fluid coming in one end, traveling straight, then bam, shot out the side at a 90-degree angle.
Like a water slide, but instead of landing in the pool, it's going off to do important work.
Yeah, perfect analogy. Now, if we peek under the hood, we see, well, a pretty simple design.
Hmm.
An impeller, that's like a spinning fan, uh, casing, a shaft, some bearings, seal, and of course the motor. Not a ton of moving parts, which is key.
Fewer moving parts. That's got to be good for maintenance, am I right?
Absolutely. Less to break down, meaning less downtime. Upkeep's a breeze. And you know what that means. Lower costs.
I like the sound of that.
Plus, they're compact. Squeeze into tight spots, no problem.
So they're kind of like that reliable friend, always there for you, nothing flashy, but they get the job done.
You got it. And that reliability, that plus their versatility makes them popular. I mean, really popular. Go-to solution for a bunch of applications, all sorts of fluids, you name it.
Okay, I gotta ask, what's the secret sauce? Why so efficient?
Well, when they're running at their sweet spot, they're like elite athletes.
Hmm,
Minimal energy, moving tons of fluid. For you, that's lower energy bills, always a good thing.
always a good
Yeah.
thing. Okay, now let's say I need a pump. Where do I even start? So many choices.
Oh, it can be overwhelming, for sure. But don't worry, we'll break it down. First things first, you need to know your flow rate and head.
Those sound pretty technical.
It's not so bad. Think of flow rate as like how much fluid you need to move, over a certain time, gallons per minute, that kind of thing. Imagine your garden hose, right? Bigger hose, more water flowing each minute. Simple.
Okay, yeah, I get that. And head.
Okay, so head is all the resistance the pump's got to overcome, like elevation changes, friction in the pipes, pressure at the end. Think pushing water through a tiny straw versus like a big wide one. You need more force for the tiny one, right?
Yeah.
It's like head.
So I need to know how much fluid I need to move and how much resistance there's going to be. What's next?
Except the performance curve, this is like the pump's resume, shows you how much flow it can handle at different pressures.
So it's not just and my pump that can handle the amount and the resistance. It's about finding the one that's perfect for my specific situation, right?
You got it. Now, another thing you can't forget is NPSH. It stands for net positive suction head. Basically, making sure your pump's getting enough fluid at the inlet. If the pressure is too low, you risk something called cavitation.
Cavitation. Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good.
It's when the fluid vaporizes inside the pump, basically. Imagine like tiny bubbles forming, then pop, they collapse. Not a good sound.
No, not a good sound at all. So how do we make sure our pump's getting a nice steady drink of fluid?
It's all about making sure the NPSH available, the actual pressure at the inlet, is higher than what the pump needs. We call it NPSH required. Got to have a tasty margin.
Right, got to keep the pump happy, make sure it's well fed. So we've got flow rate, we've got head, performance curves, NPSH. Anything else that matters when picking a pump?
Oh, the fluid itself, that's huge. We're not just talking about how MUCH, but what kind E.
Yeah, makes sense. Pumping water is going to be different from pumping, I don't know, any.
You got it. We got to think about the fluid's viscosity, so how thick or thin it is, temperature, specific gravity, that's like its density compared to water, if it's got solids in it, and, this is important, its chemical makeup. Is it corrosive? All these things, they affect what pump and what materials are going to work best.
Speaking of materials, that seems like the next step in our pump choosing journey.
Exactly. We got to make sure that pump can stand up to whatever you're throwing at it. Cast iron, it might be fine for your basic water, but seawater, you're going bronze. Corrosive chemicals, stainless steel, maybe even something more exotic. It's all about choosing the right armor for your pump so it can win the battle against the elements.
Okay, I'm loving these analogies. So we've got flow rate, head, NPSH, fluid properties, and materials. I feel like I'm becoming a pump expert, but okay, we've got our shiny new pump. What about installation?
Installation. That's where even the best pump of the world can go wrong if it's not done right. Think of like building a house. Got to have a solid foundation.
I'm taking notes. So what does a solid pump foundation look like?
First, you got to make sure the pump is, well, it's securely mounted, on a stable base. Something that can any vibrations, then proper alignment between the pump and the motor, that's crucial. You don't want them out of whack, that'll cause wear and tear, and nobody wants that.
Got it. Alignment is key. What about the piping?
Oh, piping configuration, that can make or break your performance. Here's the thing. You want nice, straight runs of pipe going into the pump inlet. Avoid those bends or elbows right near the suction. They can mess things up, create turbulence, reduce that MPSH we talked about. Make sure your suction and discharge lines, they're the right size for your flow rate and head. And don't forget to support those probes properly. Got to prevent stress on those connections.
Okay, straight pipe runs, correct sizing, and proper support. Check, check, check. My pump's installed. Piping is perfect. Now what? How do we keep this thing running smoothly, keep it healthy?
Monitoring and control, my friend. Monitoring and control.
Mm-hmm.
It's like having, I don't know, a team of tiny doctors checking your pump's vitals all the time.
Okay, I like that image. So what kind of monitoring are we talking about here?
We're talking pressure gauges, temperature sensors, that's for both the fluid and the bearings, flow meters to measure the actual flow rate, vibration sensors to catch any red flags, and power meters to keep track of that energy use. And all this data can be fed into a control system, so you can keep an eye on things from afar, make adjustments as needed, even, do an automatic shutdown if something goes haywire.
Wow, so we're not just like setting it and forgetting it, we're actively making sure it's performing at its best.
Exactly. This type of monitoring helps you avoid those big failures, and he helps you fine-tune for optimal efficiency, saving you money, making that pump last longer. It's a win-win.
Absolutely. Speaking of making it last longer, let's talk maintenance. Maybe not the most glamorous topic, but super important for any machine, right?
Yeah.
What's the secret to keeping our end suction pump happy and humming along?
Oh, you're absolutely right. Maintenance, it's an investment, not an expense. It's like going to the doctor for checkups. Catch things early, prevent bigger problems down the road.
I like that analogy. I like that. So walk us through, like, pump maintenance 101. What are the basics?
There are kind of two main approaches here: routine maintenance and predictive maintenance. Routine maintenance, that's like your regular car tune-up. Lubricating the bearings, checking the seals, making sure everything's aligned, monitoring performance, keeping an eye on those vibrations.
So keeping things in tip-top shape. What about this predictive maintenance? Sounds pretty high-tech.
Oh, it is. We use technology, we use vivid analysis to basically predict when something might go wrong. That way we can address it before it becomes a major headache.
Okay, so give us the rundown on these high-tech tools. What are we working with here?
Well, with vibration monitoring, we can pick up on those tiny changes, those little hints that maybe a bearing's starting to wear out. Thermal imaging, that helps us find hot spots. Could mean a lubrication issue or a failing seal. And then there's oil analysis. We can actually find signs of wear or even contaminants in the oil. It's like an early warning system for your pump.
This all sounds super valuable, but I imagine this technology, it's got to come with price tag. How do we justify the cost of all this maintenance?
That's where the concept of total cost of ownership comes in.
Okay, hit me with it. What is total cost of ownership and why should I care?
Basically, it means we're not just looking at the sticker price of the pump. We're thinking about all the costs involved throughout its whole life: installation, energy consumption, maintenance, both the routine stuff, A&D, those unexpected repairs, spare parts, how long the pump's going to last, even the cost of downtime if it breaks down.
Wow, so it's about thinking long term, not just about that initial cost, but the whole investment.
Exactly. And often what we find is that investing in proper maintenance, it actually saves you money in the long run.
Makes sense, makes sense.
Yeah.
So break it down for us. What are these costs in real terms?
Well, you got the purchase price, obviously. Then you got to factor in installation costs. That can change depending on how complex it is.
Yeah.
Energy consumption is huge. A more efficient pump is going to save you money on those utility bills. And then, of course, there's maintenance, those regular checkups, plus any unexpected fixes. Don't forget about spare parts. Having those on hand can really minimize downtime if something goes wrong.
Right, because time is money, especially when a critical pump goes down.
You got it. And then there's how long that pump's going to last. We call that the expected service life.
Okay.
A pump that lasts longer, well, that's going to save you money in the long run. And then there's a cost of downtime. If your pump fails and everything stops, those costs, those can really add up fast.
Okay, this total cost of ownership thing, it's really eye-opening. Changes how you think about buying a pump,
Exactly. It's about making a smart investment, one that's going to pay off over time with reliable performance, lower running costs, and a pump that just keeps on going.
Love it. This has been incredibly helpful. We've covered so much already. But before we move on, let's zoom out for a second and see these pumps in action, out in the real world.
Right.
Where are they making a difference?
Well, they're pretty much everywhere, working hard behind the scenes to keep things running smoothly. One of their biggest roles is in water and wastewater treatment. Moving water through treatment plants, getting clean water to our homes, handling all that stormwater runoff.
So they're essential for keeping our water clean and flowing where it needs to go.
You got it. And they're vital in HVAC systems, too. Circulating chilled water for air conditioning, keeping those cooling towers running, making sure hot water systems work properly.
Makes sense, makes sense. And I bet they're super important in industrial settings too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Think about chemical transfer, food production, pharmaceuticals, paper mills, you name it. They're like the backbone of so many industrial processes.
It's amazing to think about them quietly working away in all these different industries, keeping things moving.
They really are unsung heroes, keeping modern industry running. And they don't stop there. They're vital in mining, oil and gas, dewatering mines, handling processed water, injecting chemicals, even keeping cooling systems going in those really tough environments.
Wow. So from keeping our cities hydrated to powering industrial processes, these pumps they're pretty essential.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Right. Before we move on, let's give our listeners some insider tips for navigating the world of pumps, What should they keep in mind when they're selecting a pump and maybe just as importantly, when they're choosing a vendor?
Oh, great point. When you're selecting a pump, documentation is key. Make sure you're getting all the important paperwork from the vendor.
Documentation? Like what kind of documentation?
Things like performance curves, material certificates, those verify the quality, installation manuals, maintenance guidelines, warranty information, and those testing certificates to prove the pumps met industry standards. You want to know exactly what you're getting.
So it's like getting a full background check on the pump before you commit.
Exactly.
Right.
And speaking of commitments, choosing the right vendor, that's just as crucial as choosing the right pump. It's not just about getting a good price, it's about finding a partner you can trust, someone who's going to be there for you.
So how do I know if a vendor's, the real deal?
Well, first, look for deep technical expertise. They got to understand pumps, inside and out, the applications, the operating conditions, the whole 9 yards. You want someone who can answer your questions, give you good advice.
Someone who speaks fluent pump.
Exactly. And even more than that technical know-how, you want a vendor with a reputation for great after-sales support. Someone who's responsive to your needs, whether it's answering a question, helping you troubleshoot, or getting you those spare parts quickly.
Yeah, because nothing's worse than a critical pump going down and then having to wait weeks for a part.
Exactly. Downtime can really hurt, so fast access to spare parts, that's essential. You also want a vendor with a proven track record of making high-quality pumps.
Right. We want a pump that's built to last, not something that's going to fall apart after a few months.
Absolutely. Look for quality certifications, like ISO 9001, that shows they're committed to quality management systems. Checking for reference installations is also a good idea. Basically, see what other pump users are saying about the vendor.
So it's like checking online reviews, but for pumps?
Precisely.
Yeah.
And finally,
Mhm.
don't underestimate the importance of the vendor's financial stability. You want to make sure they're going to be around to honor that warranty, provide support down the road.
Makes sense. Makes sense. We want a partner for the long haul, not someone who's going to disappear on us.
You got it.
Ah.
Following those tips, that's going to help you get a great pump and have a great experience with your vendor.
Solid advice. Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's take a little peek into the future. What's on the horizon for end suction pumps? Any cool trends, any innovations our listeners should know about?
The world of pumps, it's always evolving.
Hmm.
Driven by technology, new materials that focus on energy efficiency and sustainability. That's a big one.
Exciting. Give us a glimpse into the future. What are some of the big trends?
Well, one of the most interesting things is the rise of smart pumps.
Smart pumps, like pumps that can hold a conversation.
Uh-huh. Not quite. But they're equipped with sensors, microprocessors, communication capabilities, all that. Allows them to monitor their own performance and adjust accordingly.
So they're like self-aware pumps that can optimize themselves and let you know if something's off.
You got it. They can detect changes in flow, pressure, temperature, vibration, and they adjust, their speed, other parameters to keep everything running smoothly.
That's incredible. What else is happening in the world of pump innovation?
Another game changer is IoT integration. connecting pumps to the Internet of Things.
Ah, the IoT, the network that's connecting everything these days, from our homes to our cars.
Exactly. And when we connect pumps to the IoT, it opens up a world of possibilities. We can collect tons of data on their performance, the conditions, energy use, all of it.
So it's like having like a constant stream of information about how our pumps are doing.
Precisely. And we can analyze this data to find patterns, optimize performance, predict when maintenance is needed, even control the pumps remotely.
It's like having a virtual pump control center right there at your fingertips.
That's a great way to put it. And as IoT technology gets even better, we can expect even more seamless integration and data-driven insights.
This is amazing. What about the materials pumps are made of? Any breakthroughs there?
Oh, absolutely. Material science it's constantly evolving, leading to stronger, lighter, more corrosion-resistant materials.
So we're talking pumps that can handle like the toughest environments out there.
Exactly. These advancements mean pumps can handle more aggressive fluids, extreme temperatures, higher pressures, and they last longer, so less maintenance, less replacement. It's all good.
It's like giving them like a futuristic suit of armor.
I like that. And with, sustainability becoming more and more important, we're also seeing pumps that are designed to minimize their impact on the environment.
That's fantastic. So how are pumps becoming more eco-friendly?
It's all about using less energy, less water, and just, operating in a more sustainable way overall.
Can you give us some specific examples?
Sure. We're seeing more pumps with variable speed drives, so they can adjust their speed to match demand, no wasted energy, more efficient impeller designs too, less friction, better performance. And there's a big push to use, eco-friendly materials, sustainable manufacturing processes.
So the future of pumps it's looking pretty green.
It is. And as these trends keep going, we can expect even more exciting innovations that'll just make end suction pumps even better. More efficient, more reliable, and definitely more sustainable.
Well, we've given our listeners a lot to think about. We've gone from like pump anatomy to the future of pumps. But before we take a break, I want to leave you with a thought. We've talked about how versatile these pumps are, their role in all these different industries, and the amazing innovations coming down the pipeline. But, what really gets me is the human ingenuity behind it all.
Oh, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Behind every pump, there's a whole team of engineers, designers, technicians, all these people who are constantly pushing the limits,
Yeah.
driven by this passion for innovation, this desire to make a difference in the world.
And that's what makes this field so inspiring, I think. It's a testament to human creativity, our ability to solve these complex challenges.
Absolutely. And as we keep exploring, keep pushing those limits, who knows what amazing advancements are still to come for end suction pumps.
I love that. Love that. The future of punks is wide open, full of potential. We've covered a lot of ground, from how they work to the cutting edge stuff that's shaping their future.
It's been quite a journey, and we've only just scratched the surface.
So let's take a moment to let all this information sink in. We've laid the foundation, now it's time to build on it.
As we go deeper into this world of end suction pumps, there's one thing we got to revisit, a crucial aspect: total cost of ownership.
Ah, yes, TCO. It's that idea that the sticker price, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly. To really get the full picture of a pump's value, we got to look at all those costs, over its entire lifetime.
It's like, I don't know, like choosing a car. You wouldn't just look at the price tag on the window. You'd think about insurance, fuel costs, maintenance, resale value, the whole shebang.
Exactly. And pumps, it's the same idea. We got to think about installation costs, energy consumption, the maintenance, routine A&D, those unexpected fixes, spare parts, how long the pump's going to last, even what it'll cost if it fails, that downtime.
Okay, so that's a lot to keep in mind. It really makes you realize you got to do your homework, make those smart decisions.
Absolutely. And if you really weigh those factors, you're setting yourself up for success, an investment that's going to pay off in the long run.
So let's break down these TCO components. What are the key things our listeners should be thinking about?
Well, first off, installation costs. Those can really vary depending on how complex the system is, the expertise needed, all that. A good vendor, they'll give you a breakdown of those costs up front, so no surprises.
Got it. Then there's energy consumption. That's got to be a big one, especially with energy prices these days.
Oh, for sure. A pump that's really efficient, that can make a huge difference in your energy bills over time.
Yeah.
You want pumps with high efficiency ratings. And think about features like variable speed drives. Those can really help optimize your energy use. based on demand.
So efficiency, it's key, both for how well the pump performs and for saving money.
Absolutely. And then we got those maintenance costs.
Yeah.
We can kind of split those into two buckets. Routine maintenance and, yeah, and those unexpected repairs. Routine maintenance, that's all about those regular checkups, like taking your pump to the spa for a little tune-up.
I like that. Pump spa day.
Exactly. So lubricating those bearings, checking those seals, making sure everything's still lined up properly, monitoring performance, making sure it's delivering what it should be, the right flow and head.
So it's like it's being proactive, preventing those bigger problems down the road.
Precisely. And then, sometimes those unexpected repairs just pop up. You can't always plan for everything, but having a good maintenance plan, a reliable vendor, that can really help minimize those surprises.
What about spare parts? Seems like having the right parts on hand, that could be a real lifesaver.
You are absolutely right. Downtime, that can get expensive fast. So having access to spare parts and quickly, that's essential. A good vendor, they'll have a good stock of those common parts, and they can get those specialized components if you need them.
So it's like having a pump first aid kit ready to go.
Exactly. And then there's the pump's lifespan, how long it's going to last. A high-quality pump, well-maintained, that can run for years and years, saving you money down the line.
It's not just about the initial cost, it's about investing in something that's gonna go the distance.
Precisely. And finally, got to think about the cost of downtime. If your pump goes kaput and everything grinds to a halt, those costs, oh boy, they can add up fast.
That's a scary thought. Really underscores the importance of reliability.
You got it. And that's why this whole TCO thing is such a valuable concept. It makes you think beyond just that initial price tag. Consider all those long-term implications.
Is TCO deep dive. This has been great. It's given me a whole new way of thinking about pump selection.
Glad to hear it. Now, with TCO in mind, let's switch gears a bit and talk about some of those exciting advancements, those things that are shaping the future of pumps.
Okay. I'm ready for a glimpse into the future. What's coming down the pipeline?
Well, I'd say one of the most transformative trends is the rise of smart pump technology. These pumps, they've got sensors, microprocessors, communication capabilities. They can actually monitor their own performance and adjust as needed.
So they're like little mini supercomputers that can optimize themselves.
Exactly. They can pick up on changes in flow, pressure, temperature, vibration, all that, and then they adjust, their speed, other parameters to keep things running at their best.
Wow, they can practically think for themselves.
In a way, they can. And this doesn't just boost efficiency. It helps prevent those expensive breakdowns by catching those problems early.
It's like having a pump whisperer built right in.
That's a good one. And as sensor technology keeps getting better, we're going to see even more of this, self-monitoring, self-regulation pumps that can really take care of themselves.
This is incredible. What other innovations are shaping the future of pumps?
Another big one, it's IoT integration. Connecting those pumps to the Internet of Things.
Ah, the IoT, that network that's connecting everything these days, our homes, our cars, everything.
Exactly. And when we connect pumps to the IoT, well, it just opens up a whole new world of possibilities. We can gather so much data on their performance, operating conditions, energy use, you name it.
So it's like having a constant stream of insights into how our pumps are doing, 24/7.
Precisely. And we can take all that data and analyze it. Identify patterns, optimize performance, predict when maintenance is needed, even control those pumps remotely.
It's like having a virtual pump control center right at your fingertips.
That's a great way to put it. And as IoT technology keeps evolving, well, we can expect even more seamless integration, even more of those data-driven insights.
This is amazing. What about the materials that pumps are made of? Any big breakthroughs there?
Oh, absolutely. Material science, it's constantly pushing the limits, leading to stronger, lighter, more corrosion-resistant materials.
So pumps that can handle those really harsh environments, no problem.
Exactly. We're talking more aggressive fluids, extreme temperatures, those high pressures, and they last longer. So less maintenance, less replacement. It's a win-win.
It's like we're giving them a futuristic suit of armor.
I like that. And with, the environment being such a hot topic these days, we're seeing pumps designed to have a smaller footprint, minimize their impact.
That's fantastic. So how are pumps becoming more eco-friendly?
It's all about reducing energy use, minimizing water consumption, and just operating in a more sustainable way.
Can you give us some examples, some specifics?
Of course. Variable speed drives, those are becoming more and more common. They adjust the pump speed to match the demand, so no wasted energy. Impeller designs, those are getting more efficient too, minimizing friction losses, improving performance. And there's a real focus on using those eco-friendly materials, those sustainable manufacturing processes.
So the future of pumps, it's looking pretty green.
It is. And as these trends continue, we can expect, well, we can expect even more exciting things, more innovation, making those end suction pumps even better, more efficient, more reliable, and definitely more sustainable.
It's incredible to think about, how far pump technology has come and where it's headed.
It really is an exciting time to be working with pumps.
Absolutely. Well, I feel like we've given our listeners a real front row seat to the future of pumps. But before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to bring it back to the listener. What are the key things they should remember? Those takeaways as they navigate this world of end suction centrifugal pumps.
That's a great question. I think the most important thing is to remember that choosing the right pump, it's an investment. It's worth taking the time doing your research. It's not about finding the cheapest one. It's about finding the one that's going to be reliable, meet your specific needs, and minimize those costs over time. That total cost of ownership.
So it's about taking that holistic approach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to make the smart choice, you got to understand those key things: flow rate, head, NPSH, fluid properties, what materials the pump's made of, all of that. Those are the things that determine which pump is going to be the best fit for what you need it to do.
And then once you've got that perfect pump installation and maintenance, those are key for making sure it runs well and lasts as long as possible.
Oh, absolutely. Pump that's installed correctly, well maintained, that's going to be a real workhorse for you, no problems.
Sure. And don't forget about all those cool advancements we talked about. Smart pumps, IoT integration, those advanced materials, energy optimization, the future of pumps. It's really exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as those innovations keep developing, we're going to see even more efficiency, more reliability, and definitely more sustainability from those end suction centrifugal pumps.
So as we come out of this deep dive, I want to leave our listener with a final thought. We've talked about how versatile these pumps are, how important they are in so many industries, all the amazing innovations that are coming. But what really gets me is the human ingenuity behind it all,
That's a really good point. Behind every pump, there's a whole team of people, engineers, designers, technicians, who are constantly pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
Driven by this passion for innovation, this desire to make the world a better place.
And that's what makes this field so inspiring, I think. It's a real testament to human creativity, our ability to solve those tough challenges.
Absolutely. And as we keep exploring, keep pushing those limits, who knows what amazing advancements are still out there waiting to be discovered.
That's a great thought. The future of pumps, it's wide open, so much potential. We've covered so much ground from the fundamentals to the cutting edge stuff.
It's been a great journey so far, and we've only just scratched the surface.
So let's take a minute, let all this information sink in. We've laid the foundation. Now it's time to build on it. We've been on quite a journey, haven't we? Exploring the world of these end suction centrifugal pumps, these powerful machines that keep things flowing, in so many different applications.
Yeah, it really is amazing when you think about it, their impact. Providing clean water, powering those industrial processes, making everything from, I don't know, the food we eat to the medicine we need. It's incredible.
We've covered so much. I mean, from pump anatomy to the latest and greatest, those advancements that are shaping the future. But as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to make sure our listener, walks away with those key insights, those things that'll help them navigate this world of pumps. It can be a little overwhelming.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's distill it all down, take everything we've learned and boil it down to those essential takeaways, give our listeners the tools they need to make those smart decisions about pumps.
Perfect. So where do we begin?
Well, I think the most important thing is to remember that choosing a pump, it's an investment.
Yeah.
It's worth taking the time doing your research, It's not about finding the cheapest option out there. It's about finding the one that's going to be reliable, meet your specific needs, and really minimize those costs over time. That total cost of ownership, it's key.
So it's about taking that holistic approach, that long-term view.
Exactly. And to make that smart choice, You got to understand those key things we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Flow rate, head, NPSH, what kind of fluid you're working with, the materials, all that. Those are the things that are going to tell you which pump is the right fit for your application.
And once you've got, you found that perfect pump, then it's all about installation, maintenance. Those are essential for keeping it running smoothly, making sure it lasts for years and years.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A pump that's installed correctly, well
Yeah.
maintained, that's a workhorse. That's something you
Yeah.
can rely on, no question.
And we can't forget about all those cool advancements we talked about. Smart pumps, IoT integration, those advanced materials, energy optimization. The future of pumps it's pretty bright, I'd say.
It really is an exciting time to be in this field. And as those innovations keep evolving, well, we're going to see even more efficiency, more reliability, and definitely more sustainability from those end suction centrifugal pumps.
Mhm. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I wanna leave our listener with a final thought, something that kind of captures what we've explored today.
On all ears.
These end suction centrifugal pumps, they're more than just machines. They're these essential parts of our modern world. They're quietly working behind the scenes, keeping things flowing, powering those industries, sustaining our lives even.
That's a beautiful way to put it. They're a real testament to human ingenuity,
Yeah.
our ability to harness nature, meet our needs. It's pretty amazing.
Exactly. And as we keep innovating, keep pushing those boundaries, I mean, who knows what role these pumps will play in shaping the future. It's exciting.
I couldn't agree more.
Well,
Couldn't agree more.
Well, on that note of optimism, of boundless possibilities, I think it's time to wrap up this episode of the Deep Dive. I hope you've enjoyed this journey into the fascinating world of end suction centrifugal pumps.
It's been a pleasure, truly, sharing what I know with you, with our listeners.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you've learned something new, gained a new appreciation for these incredible machines, and maybe even sparked a little curiosity to learn even more.
Until next time, keep those pumps pumping.
And keep diving deep into the world of knowledge.